In 1825, Beethoven had hit rock bottom. He was dealing with liver disease, bowel inflammation, and was in so much pain that he wrote to his doctor, Dr. Anton Braunhofer, pleading for help. Furthermore, his finances had gone down the drain, his deafness had caused complete social isolation, and he couldn't even bear to clean himself up. In fact, he roamed around so dirty and disheveled that he was mistakenly arrested as a vagrant. Beethoven was depressed, and he feared death was knocking at his door. But miraculously, his health actually started to improve. For Beethoven, these circumstances led to the creation of his Opus 132, and inside of it, one of the most moving and amazing pieces of music in Western classical music, the third movement, also known as the Heiliger Dankgesang. It is a musical testament of profound thanks to higher beings. I believe Beethoven wrote the Heiliger Dankgesang from a state of existence where normal everyday actions that we experience, like standing, moving without pain, eating, seem miraculous. Where the worst of the illness is still fresh in one's memory and one can't help but still feel completely vulnerable. Positioned in the center of a five-movement work, everything about the Heiliger Dankgesang is unique and remarkable, beginning with its title at the top of the page. It translates as a holy song of thanksgiving by a convalescent to the divinity in the Lydian mode. Here are the facts about this movement. It's 15 minutes long. It's got 5 large sections that alternate between slow music and faster music. The slow music contains holy prayers. The holy prayer sections themselves contain 2 elements, the hymn phrases and the preludes. The holy prayer sections are all in the Lydian mode, and finally the faster music he marks as feeling new strength. A lot of this piece is about slow music that breathes, music that transcends time and space in order for us to recognize the essence inside of us. It's universal. The Lydian mode, harkening back to ancient music, uses only white keys on the piano and creates music of consonance and purity. The feeling new strength sections are a stark contrast to the ancient music of the holy prayer sections. There is a key, a clear melody, rhythmic layers, trills, syncopations, a solid bag of classical period music. Each time the prayer section returns, it successively becomes more complex. The second iteration adds rhythm underneath the hymn, which creates a gorgeous tapestry of dissonance and consonance. The feeling new strength section reappears with the basic elements staying the same, but now a bit fancier and more ornate before the holy prayer section returns for the third and last time. This is the most extraordinary section of this one-of-a-kind work. The final prayer section seems to search for the essence of the hymn itself. By keeping the rhythm of the previous prayer sections, turning a portion of the hymn into a fugue subject, and transforming what was a prelude into the most sublime strands of accompaniment. These strands of melody unfurl with exquisite beauty and simultaneously flow forth with love while reaching for the heavens. These lines eventually build to an earth-shattering climax filled with intense emotion. this climax, Beethoven slowly finds his way back down to the terrestrial, reducing the hymn to two notes, F and E. Where could these notes come from? Let's go back to the opening movement. The first movement opens with a four-note motive that will serve as a common denominator in his Opus 130, 133 Grosse Fuga, and Opus 131. This motive really serves more like a cantus firmus, a kernel that provides an extraordinary amount of harmonic and melodic possibilities. The opening sostenuto introduction leads into an eruption of notes in the first violin, almost a lashing out or perhaps a desperate cry for help. This run catapults us into a movement of intense drama, a drama of contrasts and mercurial shifts from the tragic to the sublime. The movement ends with a passage in the first violin full of visceral energy, not unlike the end of the first movement of the harp quartet, but this time it is hot-blooded and defiant. The second movement is easygoing. It's a scherzo with gentle gestures and harmonic twists that keep us entertained. The counterpoint is impressive, and there's a cool and low-key vibe surrounding it all. Joseph Kerman describes it as a superbly polished piece of musical jewelry. In the middle of this movement, out of nowhere appears a dance from the countryside, bagpipe, drone, and all. Following this is the Heiliger Danke song, and how do you really follow that? With shock value. Shattering any notions of sentimentality, Beethoven opens the fourth movement with a march. It's fierce and full of wit, and you get the feeling that there's something tongue-in-cheek about it all. The transition from the march to the finale is incredible. An abrupt shift causes the march to turn into an operatic recitative. Full of expression and full of agony, the first violin reaches and pleads for mercy before eventually striking a high F. A flurry of notes erupt just like the opening of the first movement. There's something heroic about this virtuosity, but alas, we are forced to look inwards for strength as we land once again on that semitone of F and E. An aria would appropriately follow a recitative, and here Beethoven does it justice with a vocal melody that sears with passion and urgency. This main melody constantly reaches upward over a swirling vortex of intense emotions. The quartet ends like Opus 127 with the Beethoven thumbprint. After launching into a furious presto where the cello blazes forth in its highest register, he dissolves the quartet using previous material in a sort of loose variation that seems to seek further meaning behind it all. Perhaps it's an attempt to finish the business of the first movement. After recovering, Beethoven wrote to Dr. Anton Braunhofer a short canon with the following message. Doctor, close the door against death. Notes will help him who is in need. Death was knocking at Beethoven's door when he wrote Opus 132, and although illness may have been a source of creation for him, it was music, as a means of healing, that kept that door shut.